G'day guys, back with the Circle, and today we're going to look at the new Abaddon miniature. You're going to get my thoughts and feedback on what this model looks like, if you're into that. If you're not, well, it's probably not worth watching, is it? Before I start, a lot of people come to my channel and they leave the same comment I've noticed, and that is, you're so negative. If you hate the hobby, why do you even do it? Or, go fucking die. You know, the normal sort of things. I don't want to insult the intelligence of these people, but for someone who's so negative, why do I have so much positive content? Or is it just the negative stuff you focus on because, well, negative stuff seems to get the most views? Well, what broke the fans? History, problems and fixes. The reason that playlist is called that is not because it's a negative playlist. It's because it covers the history of different factions, different problems over the years that have occurred with them. That can be thematic, it could be gameplay, it could be anything. It's not a bad thing, it's just pointing out what was good or changed from edition to edition. Sometimes it's like, this wasn't great in 2nd ed, but this was great in 3rd ed, or this was great in 6th ed, when they went to 7th they fucked it. Okay, that's not negative, that's just the reality of a situation. No one's going to say that the codexes that have come since 3.5 are better representations of chaos, are they? So pointing that out, it's a statement of facts, and that's what Broke the Fans always tries to be, the most factual content available. The weekly scrub down is just Kat and I, or different guests that come on the show, just shit talking about all range of topics. Like, we've covered Neanderthals, hanging out with modern day man, in some of those episodes. I don't think we can really call that negative, it's just shit posting, really. Is it shit? Despite the name is all about how something performs on the tabletop. Is the performance of said miniature good or shit? The answer, is it shit or not, is often, no, it's alright, or it's mediocre, or it's great, or sometimes, yeah, it's shit. Again, not negative, just observable reality. Informative. Well, I guess you could call some of those negative episodes, because informative is probably the most negative out of all of these. Informative is where we talk about things like prices. But in there, you'll find the most comprehensive breakdown of Games Workshop pricing structure I think you'll find on the internet. Where I go into, hey, this is how much a mold costs, this is how much the plastic for the mold costs, this is how much shipping costs, why do the miniatures therefore cost this much? All that information is inside that playlist. And I'm really proud of it because so much research went into it. People have a hard time debating the videos in that playlist, which is why they have lots of thumbs down, maybe, but they don't have a lot of actual negative comments because people can't really turn around and go, well, you're totally wrong on the fact that, you know, shipping is like 7 cents a box. Yeah. Entering 30k. You could not have a more positive playlist on this channel than entering 30k, because that is entirely about how you get started in the hobby. It doesn't have anything to do with their pricing structure, their politics of Games Workshop, anything like that. Entering 30k is all about, hey, this hobby's awesome, buy this, this, this and this if you want to start this force, and if you want to be thematic. If you want to make this force just like how it plays in the novel, you know, buy this sort of stuff. Nothing negative in that. And interviews and discussion is where I talk with different content creators on YouTube who may have completely different opinions to mine. I've spoken to people like Ego Queen Alexis there, who is someone who is very pro Games Workshop, pro 40k, loves Sisters of Battle, and thinks that some of the things I hate are absolutely fantastic. Because that's what it is, it's interviews and discussion. That's not negative either, it's just two people chatting about what they like in the hobby. Or, in several of the episodes, it's things like, hey, I'm a person who creates models or terrain or something, or a product that helps wargaming, and I'm going to give you a rundown of the product and let you ask some questions today. And that's what that's all about. So, for a channel that's all about negativity, I think we've got a surprising amount of positivity. Positive content on here, let's say. So, it just seems that the more popular videos are the ones where the negativity comes to the fore. Talking about the problem with Space Wolves. Belisarius Cawl as a character changes to Nurgle. Primaris Marines, right idea for the wrong faction. You know, things like that. Things that are controversial, that sort of thing. They become more popular videos, they get more views, more people who might not even know the channel come in, they see those, or people who don't even follow us but have seen one of our videos and go, oh, they're negative, they don't make the content I like. Another video of ours pops up and they go, oh, that looks like I might be worth checking out. Then they check it out and they go, oh, I hate this too. Oh, fuck you, you're so negative. It's like, if you think I'm so negative, why are you even on my channel in the first place? There's so many different playlists on this channel. Things like tutorials, where I show you how to paint things. Okay? You can't call those negative, they are what they are. You can enjoy it, or you can hate it, it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, I think I have more to offer than just constant negativity. I think if anything lets me down, it's the fact that I'm not super positive very often, because there's so many other channels like Chapter Master Valrek. That guy would sell ice to an Eskimo if he could. And he's the sort of guy who Games Workshop could release another Primaris Lieutenant and he would go, it's great, we don't have enough Primaris Lieutenants. Okay? If you want positivity, channels are out there that serve that. He's a great example of that. Me personally, I like the more grounded channels, more down to earth, Leaky Cheese, Curiosity TV. They sort of speak their mind. Arch Warhammer, he has massive political agendas he likes to put into his content. I like to try and keep the politics distinct from my hobby, so I don't follow him. So this gives you guys sort of an idea of where we're at, okay? Now, since I've had this little gripe at the start of the episode, because I'm so negative, let's talk about Abaddon. What do I think of this? I went on Facebook and I put a picture of it up and I said, hey, what do people think I'm going to think of this model, basically? And I'll read you out some of the answers. Just give me a moment. I'm pulling it up on my phone. How's that sports team doing? Yeah, fantastic. Weather's crazy today, right? Alright. So I said, post the answers below of what I think of this. Nice model, but the sword could have been so much better. Also, it looks like they flipped the CAD file for the Ultra Twit and used that. Get rid of the spiky umbrella, and he's one of the best models we've seen in 40k in the last few years. Needs more gold trim, skulls, and moulded on smoke. Now I know that one's a troll. Trophy rack is a bit much, and I'm not a fan of the banana fur. Other than that, my main complaint is the size. I don't like how almost every new character must be huge. Something overly negative, I'm sure. You're happy that it's something other than Primaris Marines. Why is he standing on 40k Gilliman's backpack? The Scooby-Doo ghosts on the sword are just lazy. It's not what I want, so it's shit. Good, aside from the orcification of humans, that size equals power. Generally, think it's okay. It has the exact same pose as Vlad von Carstein from Fantasy, bullocks hanging down a derby. I feel the mantle on his back is out of place. I also feel that this is the most anatomically correct term he made by G-dubs. 8 out of 10 altogether. Derpy spikes reuse the cat of Gilliman. I'm actually a fan, and I hope you are too. Good, but the spikes on his back suck balls. I like it, but it is a pass at best. They have done him 6 out of 10 at best. When you realise it's just a mirror image of the new Bobby G. Because essentially it's a flip of his pose, I suppose. It's a pretty good step up from the original, but it is a bit busier in areas, and on the whole you like it, but there are parts you don't. I even replied to that one. The safe prediction. Enough to get you to abandon 30k and start a 40k Black Legion army. That's not true. Not enough wispy shit. Macca. It's amazing. It's alright. But there's hardly any improvement over the original. Bit busy and not as stupidly over the top as some of the Commander releases like Guilliman or Archaon. Trophy rack is a bit too much, same with the cape. Ammo belt feed to the Talon of Horus is also retarded. Get yourself a magazine, you knob. Other than that, looking primo. Generally fine, with a bit too much gold trim and the sculpted flames. So, who wants to know what I actually think? I think it's fantastic. You didn't see that one coming, did you? I even like the trophy rack. Now, does that mean it's flawless? No, it's very hard to make a flawless model. But it has multiple head swap options. It has the option of putting the cloak on. So if you don't like the tattered cloak, don't put it on. This is perfect. This is what I often complain about when I say you make a monopose character, you can't do much with it. You know, it's very hard to get rid of cloaks on characters. It's very hard to move arms, change weapons, change heads. Fantastic. Good work, Games Workshop. This is what I want to see. You've given people options in the box. When they make this model, they can make their version that they want. If they want him to have a mask on, they can. If they want him to have a bare head, they can. He can be sneering. He can have his mouth closed. He can have his cloak. The choice is entirely up to the model maker. Yes, it has sculpted on flames on a little brazier off to the right hand side of the miniature on the ground. Who gives a shit? You can just cut that thing off the base and pretend it was never even there. That's great. It's fantastic. It's what I want to see more of with models. The sword, it's not the big chunky derpy thing. It's not exactly like Leman Russ's sword. It's not the exact same thing as the Talon of Horus on his right hand either. But it works. This model works. They've kept the same design cues of the old model. There are things I'd change, yes. There's always going to be things I'd change. Because part of owning a model is you never quite want to use it straight out the box, do you? There's little things here and there you want to change. Now, biggest flaw. There's two things that I guess I'd call proper flaws. First is the Primaris Marine skewered on the trophy rack. Abaddon has been around 10,000 years, fighting all sorts of enemies from the time of the heresy, and the armor trinket he specifically chooses to carry on his trophy rack is a Primaris helmet. That's a bit lame. Mark III helmet, perhaps, Mark V, or even a Beaky, sort of hinting at his age, his lineage. People go, oh geez, you know, he's been around fighting for a long time, especially people new to the hobby who don't understand exactly what a badass this character is. That's a better way of showing it, in my opinion. It's not just the new guys he's fought the really, really old guys. So, just minor thing. Second thing is the face. I did a little picture up here, comparing a few faces. His face is almost identical to Guilliman's. And I did this tiny little paint shop cartoon on the bottom left to show the sort of rough lines that make up the face. And I put the Horus from Forge World down the bottom right there so you can look at his face and get an idea. Horus from Forge World's face looks proper. It looks like a human face, really well proportioned. What the problem is with Guilliman and Abaddon here, not because Abaddon has eyeliner, which doesn't help, the mascara. The eyes are really, really, really beady and tiny inside these massive heads, and the nose takes up most of the real estate on the face. The nose is about 8 to 10 times the size of the eyes. You've then got these big, pronounced jowls running down either side of the face. to this tiny little pursed lips mouth. And because of this, it's the facial real estate, the cheekbones take up more space than the forehead, and everything's out of proportion. That's why the heads don't work. Whereas when you go look at Horus, the bottom right picture here, you can clearly see the proportions are much better. The nose is much smaller, pointier, more refined. That's the two negative gripes I really have with the model. So, overall it's fine. The trophy rack, people don't like it. I can kind of see why, because it looks like it was a bit of a slapped-on afterthought. The back of the trophy rack has a little crack on it, and otherwise it's just flat and plain, and there's nothing going on there. The front of the trophy rack, though, has this sort of Eye of Horus Black Legion token. It's sort of obscured by his hair in the image, but it's there. So, probably would have looked better if they did something at both sides. Preferably, do something like they did with the Night Lord's trophy rack. This one's extra great because it has the decaying flesh, the sort of zombie head, I guess you could say, the rotting head impaled upon the spike. Not just Primaris helmets and skulls. The hand is a nice touch. I find the bit of flesh goes a long way towards making your enemies a bit more terrified, you know? Yeah, he's stomping a Primaris Marine on the base. Again, would have been great if it was a more classic Marine, but is what it is. We get a great shot here of the size of him, including the base and the fact that he's standing on top of a Marine. He's still only, and including the trophy rack, only maybe 2 Imperial Guardsmen tall. He's not really that huge. He's big, yes, but what people fail to understand is he hasn't really been orcified. He's not been made ridiculously huge beyond all sense of proportion. To Games Workshop's credit, they've actually kept him pretty in line with his previous scaling. People don't remember it, but back when metal Terminators were the main way that Terminators were made by Games Workshop, we're talking mid-90s here, when Abaddon first came out, he was big, a lot bigger than the other Terminators. The first time that Terminators got to his size was when they released the plastic Terminators in 4th edition. So that gives you some idea. We're talking from 2nd ed to 4th ed, 2 whole rulebook editions by the time Terminators started getting to his size. And they stayed at his size pretty much up until the Grey Knights of 5th edition. I'd say those Grey Knights were just a tiny bit bigger in proportions, and he started to look really small at that point. And since then, everything else has gone bigger around him. The Space Marines have gotten bigger, the Primaris Marines have come out, Chaos Space Marines also got a little bit bigger, other Terminators came along like Typhus in 4th edition, or 3.5, but basically 4th edition. So these other characters came out. All of a sudden, he's not as big as he was, not as imposing, and he's described in the novels as being a huge Astartes warrior. Well, Games Workshop's sort of kept that in mind. Yes, he's a big guy, and he's in Terminator armor. He's probably very similar size to Gilman, who's only in power armor. So at the end of the day, can we say that works? I think it works pretty well. The choice of colours for him and the paint job both work really well. The only thing I find odd is the mascara, the eyeliner he's got going on. Whether he's doing like some Egyptian cosplay with a bit of coal rubbed under his eyes. Bit strange, but it works for me. I don't mind the Scooby-Doo faces in the sword. I think they look fine, in fact. It's a demon-possessed sword. I don't know how much you can expect of it. Maybe if there was more like flame looking, like, I don't mean sculpted on fire, I mean like Damascus steel, perhaps. Maybe interesting, I don't know. The base that looks like Gilman's backpack, yeah, okay. Doesn't affect me. The skulls hanging off his belt, they didn't go over the top. There's like one skull and a chain. One main skull, there's not 50. Downsides of the model, maybe he's not cataphracti armor, I guess. And he's got that sort of fleshy cabling thing going on they love with Chaos Warriors now, where They can't just have the conduit tubing or flat pipes, smooth pipes. It has to be a mixture of the two. It has to be like flesh or rubber ripping off the outside of the conduit. But these are minor nitpicks. This is like looking at the Picasso. No, something better than a Picasso. This is like looking at your Da Vinci, your Raphael, your Michelangelo, and going, oh, you know, he's slightly fluffed that one paint stroke there. This is by far the best plastic model they have done in so long. Nothing on this is a deal breaker. That trophy rack is not a deal breaker. If I bought this model, I would cut the Primaris helmet off, put a Mark III helmet on there, stick what was left of the spike back on it, and it would work. I think it would justify the model much better. Would I put the cloak on or off? I don't know. I'd have to mock it up, test fit it, see how it looked in person. But I actually think I'm coming around to the cloak idea. He does seem like the kind of guy that would have a cloak, plus Horus has one before him, so it works. The brazier, again, the burning flame on his base, doesn't need to be there, and you could just chop it off. Don't even put it on the base to begin with if you didn't want to. The rebreather mask, I think it's okay for him. It works. Make it a lot easier for people who don't enjoy painting faces, find it a bit overwhelming. A lot of young painters or newer painters who will go out and buy this model just for the rule of cool. It'll be great for them. Make it a lot easier for them who don't have a lot of confidence. So, all in all, I think this model's just a great win. Yeah, not much more I can say. Fantastic work. And again, for those who say I'm always negative, if they put this much effort and this level of care into every model they sculpted, this channel would be a totally different beast. But I cannot make the same arguments about this model with the new Guilliman. I can't go out there and praise it because that thing has so many things wrong. Because they didn't follow the same aesthetics they did with this one. Anyway, I enjoy the model. Shock horror. Mac with the outer circle. Don't think this means that I'm not pissed off at Games Workshop about other things, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about this particular model and all the great things about it. Let's enjoy it. See you all next time.